Welcome to the Wish I'd Known Then podcast, where we focus on how authors found success, looking at strategies that have taken them to the top of the bestseller charts, as well as what they've learned from their mistakes. Because being an indie author is more than knowing the latest marketing trend. It's about being innovative and creative and learning from your mistakes.
Welcome to the Wish I'd Known Then podcast. I'm Sara Rosette.
And I'm Jami Albright. And this week on the show, we are just going to talk.
We're doing a quick update. Yeah.
Our guest is in some bad weather and couldn't record today. So we're going to just kind of give you guys an update. And I will go first because mine is not great. And so Sarah's is a lot more interesting and book related. So you guys might, I think you know, but some might, but my sister passed away on October 1st. And it was peaceful and it was as sweet as it could be, but it was, devastating for all of us. And so that's been 14 days, and I'm still not completely okay. And I don't know if I'll ever be okay, but I was just telling Sara, I just went and paid someone to wash and dry my hair because I just simply do not have the energy to do it. And so that's pretty much where I'm at. But I did write something and post it on Facebook about, it's called A Love Letter to Indie Publishing. And I guess I can talk about that a little bit, just because some people, I think most people have seen it, but some people may not. But, I am not making what I was making the first 3 years of my indie publishing career. I mean, frankly, what I made the first 3 years of my indie publishing career is really astounding, given the fact that I did not, I was only putting out a book a year. And in 2021, my income went from very high 4 figures to some months low 5 figures, to pretty much low 4 figures. And it happened almost like overnight. It was very shocking. And I cried, tried to get help, tried to, all kinds of things. And it didn't work. Nothing worked. So I just sort of adopted the mindset that I don't have to make all the money. And I think I've said that on here before. I just didn't have to make all the money. I needed to make a certain amount to help with our household budget. But then after that, I don't have to make more. And I was making that. After a few months of pulling back on ads and stuff, it took me a little while to start making money again. But anyway, all that to say, I tried to be okay with that mindset. I think I even at the 20 Books conference last year said that I did. But really, I wasn't. I was mad and I was embarrassed and lots of things. Negative things, and really kind of bitter towards just the whole business, the whole thing. But what I've realized is the fact that I can make some money and I'm still making what I need to make to support our income, our household income, allowed me to be with my sister. And that would not have happened with any other job. I would have had to take a leave of absence. I would have had to do FMLA if I could have done that. I don't even know if I could have, and not been paid. And then thanks to the unbelievable generosity of an author friend of mine who surprised me by putting my book in her newsletter, her gigantic newsletter. And she doesn't do that, but she had read the first book. And so she put it in there in July. July and August were great months, just like old time months. And and then my husband got his bonus, kind of in there. So, until the end of the year, I'm pretty much good. I'm good. which is great. It gives me time to kind of get my head straight, decide what I'm going to do. But the whole point being, if I weren't an indie author, I would not have been able to be with my sister at all. I mean, I would have had to be back and forth, and I wasn't. I was there for everything. And, for a family like ours that is super close, super codependent, super weird, super crazy. I mean, we're not perfect by any stretch of the imagination at all, but we do love each other very much. And that was just everything to me. And it was just cool to be able to be there and watch my sisters, because I'm the oldest. I do take on some responsibilities, and like my youngest sister is very, she's the baby. She's always been the baby. Y'all, up until a year ago, she'd kill me if she knew I was saying this. Pardon me. Up until a year ago, she didn't know how to make coffee. She's 43 years old or something like that. I mean, everybody had done stuff for her. And Joni, my sister who passed away, she really took care of her. Like in fact, Randy, my youngest sister, said, "What am I going to do without you?" And Joni said, "You better learn to fight," because Joni had always fought Randy's battles for her. But Randy, during this time, like when Joni was in the hospital and everything, she was so great. Like she advocated for Joni. She stood up to the nurses and said, "No, we have to do this." Now, she said she did it because she was scared of me, because I had to go away it's when I was out of town for Disney. I told Randy, you can't just sit there. You have to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. And she said she was scared of me, but she just really did amazing. And she not only lost her sister, she lost her best friend. And she stayed right in there with us. And that's what I was really most proud of, like with my dad and with one of my other sisters who is not, they're emotionally a little bit more withdrawn. I say that our family is the mothership for big emotions. And, but she, this sister, and my dad, they stayed right there. Like they didn't try to back away. They didn't try to avoid these emotions or not show my sister, the affection or say the things they wanted to say. And so all of that is just really awesome. But, it's still so horrible. It's just horrible. I mean, I told my daughter yesterday, I had no idea this kind of grief was so exhausting. Like it's just exhausting. And, so I don't know. I have no idea when I'm going to write again, but I feel like I will. I wrote her obituary, and then I wrote that post. And then my mom told me some things she wanted to say to people, so I wrote a post for her. And I really loved it. Like I loved writing again. I just don't know if I'm ready to write fiction. I don't know. I can't even think about it. But all that to say, you know what, guys, we really are so fortunate that we are in this business. And I am just grateful for every penny I make, even if it's quite a lot less than I used to make, because it allows me to do the things that are important. And I also recognize that even though I'm making a lot less than I was, I'm still making more than most people indie publishing. And there's gratitude in that. And I think that we really should, we want to chase the thing. We want to take over the world. But until we do, we just need to be grateful for what we have. And anyway, but again, I cannot thank you guys enough. I mean, I have received the nicest, sweetest messages from you guys, and I just can't thank you enough. So that is my update. So.
All right. Well, I think I don't even know how to respond.
I know. It's just, I want to cuss, but it's just horrible.
Yeah.
It's horrible. But, We have some very funny memories. I mean, well, we have tons of funny memories of her, but I mean, this really is she was a college athlete. She played football. She played basketball. Sheesh. She played basketball in high school and college, and she was just she was so aggressive. Little, she's 5'6", and my sister, I think, said, "You bad to the bone." Well, that kind of caught on. And so her nickname was Bone. Everybody called her Bone, that played with her. And I think even in college, they called her the Tasmanian Devil. Like there were times teams could not even get over the half court line because of her. And so the high school basketball team is dedicating their season to her. And on the back of their shirts, it will say play like 12. That was her. So that's cool. I mean, she would have loved that. But I'll tell this story and then because it's funny and end on a happy note. But she was like a freshman. And the sister above her, Dana, and her friend were going to go riding around, in a small town. That's what you do. You just ride around. And Joni said, "Can I go?" And they said, "Sure." And she said, "Well, let me shower." So she jumps in the shower. And as she's in the shower, she's thinking, they agreed to that way too easily. So she jumps out of the shower, grabs a towel and wraps it around her. And as she goes out the front door, they're backing up, laughing. And she's like, "Wait, you said you'd wait." And they just keep laughing. And she jumps on the hood of the car, grabs a hold like where the windshield wipers are and holds on. And they drive to the end of our street, which is at least a quarter of a mile, to the main street with her hanging on. They're laughing and she's screaming at them to stop. They finally let her off they stop and she gets off. They won't let her in. And she has to walk home in her towel. Oh, she was furious. Gosh. But I mean, that is her in a nutshell. I mean, she was just aggressive and hilarious. I mean, she could laugh about it even then. And so, she was special. I mean, of course she was ours, so we think she's special, but the viewing people were wrapped around the church they waited in line for over an hour to come through and, greet us and stuff. So other people thought she was special too. So
I don't think you were. I think you were a little biased, but not.
I am biased. I'm way biased. I mean, especially when somebody passes or they've been really sick, excuse me, you tend to forget all the things, But she's also like I'm telling you, if you made her mad, you better get the heck out of the way because she was, she held nothing back. But anyway, we will miss her. But I'm okay. I'm okay.
Yeah, you are okay. I mean, I can tell you're okay. And I'm okay. It's gonna be a long road. I know
it will. It'll be a long road, but it'll be okay. So
yeah. And I would just say, I would add on to that the whole thing about like the market and things not going like you expected or wanted to. Yeah. Becca Syme, everybody drink, has a new YouTube video out, a new Quitcast, and it's all about how our expectations about what we like. If we do this, X will happen. Are a little unrealistic, and it's very good. I'll put a link into the show notes.
Do that.
But you're definitely not alone. I mean, we've talked to so many people, and personally, I've talked to a lot of people that things are just not like they were. And there used to be these things like if you write this many books and release them at this point, you'll be making this. And Becca's whole video is like, that's not the case. It doesn't always work that way. And it's not our fault and it's not our book's fault. And, it's like, anyway, so.
Yeah. I mean, I used to know that if I spent this much a month, I would make this much. And I will say, like, I think one of the things that did set me apart in the beginning was I was consistently making the same thing every month, even though I wasn't putting out books. And I'm still consistently making the same thing every month. It's just a lot less, but at least I know I have that. And, that's, that's huge. Like, that's huge. And especially when you're in a crisis of any kind, to know that. And y'all, I really wasn't even advertised. I mean, I had one ad running and then I finally just turned it off because it was doing okay, but it wasn't like blowing things out. And I just thought, I'm going to turn it off. I've since started a couple of ads in the last few days, but the fact that my friend put me in, honestly, the fact that my friend put me in her newsletter really gave me the boost that lasted a couple of months. So that was great.
Yeah.
But
the thing is, like, as writers, we have these assets that they may not earn us what we hoped or thought or planned, but we still have assets and we can do all kinds of things with them.
Right.
We can do promos, we can box them up, we can translate them, So there's potential there. Whereas somebody who's in a fixed income job, that they just don't have that. So it is something to be incredibly thankful for.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean,
glad you were able to do it.
Yeah. My second sister, she's X-ray tech. I mean, she can only take off so many days. I mean, she just couldn't be there every day. The youngest sister's a teacher. And so in the district, they can donate days. So they donated enough days that she has been able to be there. So she and my mom and I really were there all the time. My other two sisters were there when, like at nights or when we needed them and stuff. But, but they were both working. My third sister, she had, her schedule was more flexible. She could be there more, but I felt horrible for my second sister because she really just could not take off. And, I mean, other than just a little bit here and there. And so, we're fortunate. I mean, we're just fortunate. We really are that we can do this, and we can do different things to make those assets work for us. I am not or was not in the mindset to do that, but there are a lot of things we can do, and we just have a lot of flexibility.
Like, if you have to take a break and go away, you're not going to lose those books. They'll still be there. And
they're still there.
Do stuff later,
And then when you come back, you can recover them. You can do, I mean, there are just so many things that we can do. And it's just easy to lose sight of that when all we're looking at is the money. And in my case, I'm just as honest as I can be, being known for something. I like
pressure.
that.
There's a pressure to it.
There's a pressure there. And also,
doing this, replicate it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And this business, it's very hard to replicate anything.
Right.
Like even if you write a series and it does well, and if you write a very similar series, there's no guarantee that it's going to do as well or better. We think it will, but you just never know.
Right. And being popular, I don't know if popular is the right word, but like just being known for something in the indie community, like for me, making money, good money with one book a year. I mean, honestly, that popularity didn't buy me one thing. It didn't earn me the money. The readers were buying my books. And so it's like, that's not even that important. I mean, it's not important. And I've had to come to that too, just being happy that I can be in this community and I can help people if I have the opportunity, which I would. But just being in this community, I mean, y'all, my friends, my real friends, they were there for me. Sara, she texted and everything, but she was away like everybody else. But my online friends, my book friends were just as supportive. So I'm just really, really fortunate. And I just want to say thank you. So let's move on to you, Sara. What is going on with this Kickstarter? You are amazing.
It's been just crazy. And I still can't quite believe that it went as high as it did and that people were so excited about it. But I mean, I'm very happy.
Right. So where did it end up?
16K.
Wow. And your goal was what?
500, because it makes it look like even more incredible. So Russell and Monica, they have a course. And so I
Yes.
went through the Kickstarter Accelerator course.
Yeah.
And that was so helpful because it just showed me like what to do each step. And so they recommended, set a really low achievable goal. And then that way you'll fund quickly. I mean, if you're going to fund, you'll fund pretty early in your campaign because I guess a lot of people, they'll go and they'll look. And if the goal is really high and people may not back you if they don't think it's going to fund. So if you set a lower goal, it helps you because people go, oh, it's going to fund. So I'll go ahead and back instead of waiting.
And then, and it funded in what, less than an hour?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like 45 minutes.
Awesome. That's awesome. And so you took the course. Now the course is a little pricey.
It is a little pricey, but it's one of those things that it's so worth it.
I was going to say, that was the next question. Is it worth it?
Yeah. It was like probably the best course I've paid for. I'll just say that, for the return, the immediate return that I saw on it. So, but it was really helpful. And there's like a ton of information, and I have a link that we can put in the show notes. It's an affiliate link. But
that's great.
And I think it's closed right now, but I think they'll open soon.
I think they're opening soon because I got an email. I think I got an email. Shoot, I don't know. That could have been 8 months ago, and I don't even know.
Well, we'll run that down and we'll
look it up. Do not bank on anything I'm saying. So, did you have to do a lot of work on the front end? I mean,
well, I did because I was trying to kind of replicate what they recommended. And but there's all kinds of Kickstarters out there. There's some that are not as detailed, but I spent a lot of time like creating the page and there's a lot of things that I didn't realize that I needed. Like you need a really good campaign image and like a lot of these things I learned as I went. I was like, So I contacted my cover artist. It was like, hey, this is kind of a mock-up that I made that is okay, but can you do something to it? So like she took it to the next level and made it better. Yeah. So I did a lot of things like that, like graphic stuff that I didn't know I needed. There's certain sizes that you can only upload to Kickstarter. And so like you have to resize everything to fit the certain like parameters. So I just spent a lot of time like creating graphics. The platform itself lets you do like a headline and text. So to make the pages more interesting, people will take an image and put their text on like a subhead. And so you create these subheads that you can upload, and then you can use the headline underneath that. And then the text, so like it kind of gives you a hierarchy, but then, those are images you got to create. And that was all the stuff that I was like, So anyway, it was a lot of work. I think I took about a week before, before it launched, like about a month or two before I started creating everything and uploading everything. So I did all that. And then the other thing I learned is that you want to set up your page where people can sign up to be notified. It's called the pre-launch page.
Yes.
Yeah. So you sign that, you set that up, and all it is just the image. It says notify me. And in my mind, I'm like, you've set that up and then you launch like the next week because people are going to want, because like, you don't want that you don't want people to forget.
Right.
But no, you leave that up. You can leave that up months if you want. I think there's a limit, but I left mine up for like 5 weeks, I think.
Oh,
and so like, if you can get a good like number of people following you there, it helps later.
Right.
So like a lot of things that I would have thought, it was actually the opposite.
Yeah. I think that Claire Taylor too, I think her pre-launch page was up quite a while too. Yeah. And, she did great. She did amazingly well too. So now that it's funded, do you have a lot of work on the back end?
Well, that's what I've discovered is that there is work on the back end, and you can do everything through Kickstarter, or you can use another platform to help you.
Right.
And, so there's two main ones, BackerKit and Pledgebox. And everybody I'd heard from said, BackerKit was great. And if you have a certain amount, like you have to pay to use it, but it allows you to do add-ons throughout the rest of the, like as you're fulfilling things. So it can pay for itself. So I was like, okay, I'll do that. And I did not realize what I was getting into. It's like, you have to upload stuff. It's a very complicated system. So, and I figured out, and their customer service is very good, but it was like another basically weeks worth of work, because I don't work on, like, when I say weeks worth, it's like a couple of hours every day.
Yeah.
But, it just takes a while. And all those images that you created I just kept I had a Canva project thing that I just created everything in. And then I just saved everything in a Dropbox. And so then I would just go into Dropbox, search for whatever I needed, and pull it into BackerKit. So all that stuff you created, you just reuse.
Right.
Once you have everything set up in BackerKit, if you run another campaign, you can import that stuff, so you don't have to redo it all. Right. So this is a lot of time that it won't be this complicated next time.
Right. Would you use BackerKit again?
I think so, because I just sent out the thing. You send out a survey when you get done. You send out, you set it all up and you send it out, and people give you the information that you need, like your mailing address, or you can ask them questions like, how did you hear about me? And, all these things. So you send that out, and then they can purchase an add-on. So that went out for me this week, and I've covered the cost of BackerKit through people purchasing add-ons.
Oh, really? So they can still purchase add-ons after the fact. Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And that's why people use it. And then I did have a lot of people ask, I missed the thing. Can I still get? And so I've said, you can, this is something you have to figure out. Are you going to allow orders afterwards? So I said, until I order the print books, you can go into BackerKit and get them here, but then after that, I'm cutting it off, because it's special edition. So I can't just keep taking orders. So there's something else I was going to tell y'all about it that, I can only do so many things. My plate is pretty small. And so getting the page set up, getting all this stuff going was all I could do. Right. And you send it out. Russell has this really good email kind of responder thing where you inform your people about it and tell them. And one of the things is you send them to the pre-launch page, the preview page, a secret preview page that they can see and give you feedback. So I did that. And one of the main comments I got was stretch goals would be nice. And I was like, I can't handle that right now. I couldn't even think about it. Right. And I was like, I'm not even going to do that, because I just couldn't do it. Right. So it launched and it funded so quickly. And I was like, oh yeah, I am going to need those stretch goals to keep, it gives you something to email your people about, and it keeps the interest going. And I just kind of when people kept mentioning it, I thought, okay, here's a couple of things I could do. But I learned that it's really good if you're going to do a stretch goal, if you can do something that will enhance whatever you're giving out. So for my stretch goals, I was like, well, do you want a color title page? Because I'm doing it through Book Vault, and you can add one color page. And so I was like, that's a stretch goal that will make the books look better, but it's not something else I have to produce.
Right.
So I had to kind of think through that. And then, there's all these decisions you have to make, and it's kind of like you're doing them on the fly. So it's like, do I reveal all the stretch goals at once? And I'm really glad I didn't, because I changed my mind on some of them. Yeah. And, so that was something that I had no idea on, and I just kind of did it as I went. But so I did the color title page, and I did, I changed the map from black and white to color.
Oh, wow. That's cool.
Yeah. And so all this stuff is going on behind the scenes. I'm emailing my cover artist saying, can you do this? Or the woman who did the map, I was like, can you add color to this? I mean, I don't need it until, next month, but so it's things that if I had planned ahead, I could have already said, hey,
you could have already said that.
Yeah. Would this be a good thing to do? Those are things I learned that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the original goal of $500, would that have, I guess what I'm saying, would that have covered your cost? No.
Well, I mean, just to get the new cover was close to that. I can't remember exactly how much it was, but I commissioned a new cover because you need the art. Right. But basically in my mind, I was doing this to invest, to see if my readers were interested in special editions and premium products and things. And so to me, it was okay if I took a loss, but I just wanted to test. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So
really, the only thing you paid for in advance was the cover.
The cover. And let's see, did I do anything else? Because I already had the book because it was already written. And then I paid for the course, but in my mind, that comes out of a different bucket, like in your budget, because like that's more like educational.
Yeah.
So that was what I knew I would pay for the cover. And then what I did was like for the interior, I did an in vellum and I'm using book vault to print it. And then I've had some expenses because I printed a test copy and had it sent to me. And so, those things are not, incredibly expensive, but they would add up.
But they still cost money. Yeah.
Yeah. But they're not going to be like, if I had just broken even, that would have been fine too, just to learn for learning for me.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. That's great.
So
I'm just
really
so proud of you.
I did it. Oh, thank you. I'm really glad I did it. I mean, it's like, I feel like it's given me a little more margin. I don't know how to say it. Like now it's like making me reassess everything. I'm going, okay, well, obviously it would be smart if this works well to launch first, to launch a new book on Kickstarter and do a special edition. And then do I go back and do I relaunch like special editions for my best-selling series?
Right.
I'm not thinking about that right now.
Right.
I don't know. Those are good questions that I don't know the answers to.
It's definitely another tool in your pocket or your what is it? I don't know. Wherever you keep your tools.
The arrow in your quiver.
There you go. to make money. But like me thinking about it is so overwhelming right at this moment, but I am going to try. I just think that, I think do you think you found new readers?
I think so, because
I was going to say,
apparently, like if you, Russell says, like if you bring 100 people to Kickstarter, then Kickstarter will bring 100 new people to your page. And see it. So it's kind of like they match whatever you're doing. And so that was really helpful just to know that. And there were some people that backed it that I could tell that they'd been on Kickstarter a lot, because you can see, like what they had backed.
Yeah.
And then a bunch of my people had never heard of Kickstarter.
Yeah.
Like they had to go there and sign up.
Right.
And so, I think as more people do it, one of the issues I had was there were not a lot of mystery authors on Kickstarter.
Right.
And one of the things that was recommended through the course was to network with other people on Kickstarter, and they'll recommend your book and you recommend, you show them, you do these updates about every once a week, every couple of days, and say, hey, this is what I'm doing. Here's some other ones you might be interested in. And it kind of widens your reach. But there were just not that many mystery authors on Kickstarter. So I think as more people get on, there's like the two sides of the coin. Some people say it will be more saturated and it'll be harder to stand out. But then you'll also have people to network with who would be really good matches for you. So, and then the other thing is that not every mystery author is going to be releasing something all the time on Kickstarter. Because it's going to be like a special thing for like a couple times a year, maybe like that. So.
Right. So how much education did you have to do with your people about Kickstarter?
Well, they did, like Russell's system of of announcing everything really helped. But what I did was I went in this summer, there were a couple of cozy mystery Kickstarters. I just shared those in my newsletter. I was like, hey,
that's good. Yeah.
There's this new stuff coming out on Kickstarter. If you've not ever been over there, you might want to go check it out. So I shared a couple of those. And then I just said, hey, this is what it is. This is what I'm doing. And, I did it over a couple of weeks. And so that way they could kind of become familiar with it. And I thought I would get like a ton of questions. And I didn't know if I would get any pushback on the pricing, because it's expensive stuff. Yeah. Compared to like a ebook for $5.
Yeah,
$5 or $6.
Sure.
But nobody really said, oh, that's too expensive. I can't believe you're asking us to pay $40 for a special edition hardcover.
Right.
So, and I think partly it was because I let them go see the preview.
Yes.
And they could see what everything was.
Right.
And, but it took away some of the sticker shock.
Right. I think that's just so fascinating too, because your audience is older.
They are. And a lot of them are on fixed incomes. And my thought was, okay, this is not for everybody.
Right.
But if it's something you like and you want, here it is.
Right.
And you don't have to do it. And I had like a tier. That's the other thing you have to figure out is like how you're going to price things and what you're going to give away.
Right.
So I had a $1 tier where you could get downloadable bookmarks, printable bookmarks, so you could print at home. Just so like if you wanted to be involved, you could be, and then I had, the add-ons that were like between, $5 to $15 to $20. And then I had ebooks, versions and stuff on up to the really expensive stuff.
So they didn't get the special edition until they got to the $40 mark.
Well, they could get a digital special edition.
Put
that in, and I did like a digital signature in it, so it'll have the cover art. Yeah. And one of the last stretch goals I did was color chapter headers. So so that will also be in the ebook. It'll look cool, like if you read it on an iPad or something. Right. If you read it on a Kindle Paperwhite, it'll just look gray, but it will have that. And and I didn't do a paperback because I just thought, I don't think I can handle. I just couldn't handle the variables.
To me, a special edition's a hardcover. I mean, you know what I'm saying? That just makes it nicer, fancier, sets it apart a little bit. Yeah. So I think that's great.
Yeah. And the other thing I learned was that in my mind, like a special edition hardcover, I was planning to do the paper wrap, I thought I needed that. And then I started doing some research on Kickstarter, and almost all the special editions are case laminate. They don't have the wrap. It's just like glued on. And I was like, well, that's great because that's a little less expensive for the printing and everything.
Yeah. I don't like those paper things. They
fall off. They're cool.
They're cool. They're pretty, but
I take them off if I'm going to read. And then I have like a stack of them. And So anyway.
Yeah, I try to avoid stacks. Let me show you my desk real quick. And you can see how untrue that is. So anything else? Anything else we should know about Kickstarter?
I would say definitely give it a try. And I feel like this first one, it was really successful and I'm really happy, but I basically just did it to get my feet wet and to try it. And so like plan on just trying something and seeing how it goes, but you're going to need some time to get it set up. And some people don't do things that are as near as elaborate as, like I had like all kinds of photos and images and text. And one thing that I learned was that if you want your thing to appeal to people who aren't readers, excuse me, you kind of need to introduce people. Here, hold on. I got to get a drink of water.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay, maybe we can edit that out, Alexa. So one thing I learned was you don't have to be this detailed, but if you want people to come to your page who don't know you at all, you kind of have to introduce them to your work. You kind of have to say, hey, I write country house mysteries. And this is my main character. And like if you're writing sci-fi or fantasy, you say, this is the world. This is the art, all that stuff that, that you want, instead of just saying, hey, here's a book, here's a special edition book. You kind of have to introduce yourself to new people.
Right.
So that took up a lot of like brain space. Like, I'm talking to people who know me and who don't know me. So how do I do it?
Yeah. So if you guys are wondering why Sara and I are friends, this is it. Sara is not afraid to jump in and do the thing. And
but I will say this, I was terrified. I mean, I really was.
But you still did it. Yeah. And then I follow behind and go, oh, that looks like fun. So
see, Jami knows everybody and she is not afraid to talk to anybody or make any new friends. And that's my terror space. So
oh gosh.
That's why we're a good team.
We are a good team.
Yeah. So, but anyway, so that's a little bit about the Kickstarter. And I'm sure if y'all have more questions, just put them in the group and we can answer them later. And so.
Yeah. And go back and listen to the episode with Monica and Russell, where Sara and I, both our minds are completely blown in that episode because we had no idea.
Yeah.
When we interviewed them that the potential for Kickstarter. So
and it has expanded our horizons greatly. So
greatly. And your pocketbook. So
well, this is the other thing I learned. Is
I was going to say
weeks to get paid. So you end the thing, and then Kickstarter tells people they're going to collect the money. Then they collect the money. Then they hold it for a while, and then they send it to you. So I have not purchased anything. I have not ordered anything except a proof copy. Because everyone's like, wait until you get the money before you start ordering stuff.
I think that's very wise. Very
so
wise.
It's not like cha-ching, you're paid the next day.
Pull and handle. All right.
Well, before we go, I have two things I was going to tell y'all about. One, I was on the Rebel Author podcast with Sasha Black this week. Love it. She's so much fun. And we talked about cozy mysteries. So if you know what they are, how to hide clues and red herrings and things like that. So that is out this week. Right. It'll be out like when this podcast goes out. Right. And then the other thing, which is really funny, is that Daniel Willcocks is doing a he calls it 50K writing camp, which is, he used to call it the Nano Boot Camp. And he's doing that for to get ready and to do for Nano. So that's funny because they used to do a podcast together. So so anyway, so I have a link for that, and I'll put that in the show notes.
And Nano is NaNoWriMo. It's in the month of November. You write 50,000 words in the month of November.
Yes. So if you're interested in doing
Google it. Yeah. And you can find all kinds of information.
Yeah. And that's one of those things that if you're in a group and you're spurring each other on, it really helps, I think, because it's a lot to take on and to do. So
especially
that link will be in the show notes too.
Oh, that's funny. Well, thanks you guys for listening to us today, this is fun.
We are going to take it. We're going to kind of take it, play it by ear for a little while on the podcast. So this will come out, and then we may have a week or two with no episode, but we are scheduling and planning.
We're getting back
the end of the year.
Sometimes it's hard to record in the fetal position, and I have no idea if I'll be there or not. So no, we're just like I said, we were supposed to have a guest today, but where she's at is terrible weather and no reception, and then next week I am taking a mental health break with my husband, and so there's that. And let me just say real quick, one of the real MVPs through this whole time has been my husband, for one, being okay with me being gone literally all summer, and two, the last month of Joni's life, he was at my mom's taking care of us. Cooking. Well, we had so much, y'all, the food. I know I talked about it, but so much food. There is a woman in Kaufman. Her name's Judy Guthrie. I have a restraining order against her. She cannot come near our house within 30 feet of our house with the pie.
Because she brings too much food.
Too much food. She's such a good cook. And, it was so much food and so much stuff, and he just organized, and he would clean up, and he just served us. And so can't say enough about him. So, and he was grieving too. So, he loved my sister. Yeah. So anyway, he and I are going to take a trip next week just to kind of
I think that's
try
good.
to reset.
So I think that's good.
Yeah.
So we'll be gone maybe for a week or two, and then we'll get back to it, and kind of try and get back into it.
Bear with us.
Yeah. So I guess that is it for this week.
That's it. Yeah, that's it.
All right. Well, we will see y'all in a little while.
All right. And thanks to Alexa Larberg for editing and producing the podcast. And thanks to Adriel Wiggins for all our admin stuff. And you guys have a good week.
All right.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to the Wish I'd Known Then podcast. We hope this episode inspired you, empowered you, and made you laugh a little bit too. If you loved it, tell your friends about it. And if you feel so inclined, leave us a review. We look forward to being with you again next week.